My name is Steve Tessman, staff biologist for the Wyoming Game and Fish Department. Today I'd like to talk to you about the wetlands of Goshen County. We're standing here on our Table Mountain Wildlife Habitat Management Area at the east end of the Goshen Wetland Complex. The Goshen Wetland Complex is one of 9 priority wetland complexes that were identified in a study conducted by the Nature Conservancy and published in 2010. Interestingly, there are probably more wetlands in the Goshen County area now than there were prior to settlement, owing to the influence of irrigation. The irrigation infrastructure was largely built in the early part of the 20th century with the completion of the Horse Creek diversion and the Fort Laramie Canal. As more and more land came under irrigation, the surplus water that would run off those fields would collect in low-lying pockets and basins that eventually formed into wetlands. The availability of irrigation water also created many opportunities to create wetlands. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Partners for Fish and Wildlife Program and Ducks Unlimited have been very active in this region since the 1970s, and they have completed approximately 1,200 acres of wetland projects, both protection and restoration, under cooperative agreements with private landowners. The Wyoming Game and Fish Department has acquired 3 wildlife habitat management areas in Goshen County that collectively contain 270 acres of wetlands and 870 acres of ponds and impoundments, all of which are managed to improve wildlife habitat. Wildlife use in these areas is pretty incredible. We've had over 100 species of birds documented on Springer and Table Mountain, and 148 species in the riparian habitat along the North Platte River on the Rawhide Unit. Upwards of 200,000 Canada geese migrate across southeast Wyoming, and we overwinter between 30 and 60,000. We also count about 30,000 mallards during the winter period, depending on winter severity, of course. 23 of the wetland-dependent bird species that occur here are also listed as species of greatest conservation need in our State Wildlife Action Plan. The prevalent impact to wetlands in this region is extended drought and irrigation conversions from flood irrigation to center pivot or sprinkler irrigation. When flood irrigation is converted to sprinkler irrigation, that conserves water, but at the same time, the amount of water that runs off fields and into wetlands is significantly reduced, and that impacts wetland persistence. Accordingly, the conservation measures that we're implementing are intended to address those kinds of impacts. In 2017, Ducks Unlimited and other partners obtained a $1 million grant from the North American Wetland Conservation Act. Funds from that grant were used to secure additional water supplies for Bump Sullivan Reservoir. These improvements will enable the department to manage water more efficiently and effectively to maintain and improve wildlife habitat on these wildlife management areas. The Goshen Wetland Complex is the state's most important waterfowl hunting area in terms of hunter numbers, total harvest, and recreation days. The area accounts for nearly half of the state's harvest of Canada geese, for example, and also provides significant duck harvest. Although the area tends not to be on the radar screen of a lot of birdwatching enthusiasts, it provides some pretty incredible opportunities for those kinds of activities as well, especially during the spring migration period from about mid-March through the month of April. So come check it out.